I want to talk about the Great Resignation, this phenomenon that's going on that was coined. I think it was a reporter. I can't remember where it was. Was it Business Insider or something like that? Coined the term of the number of people that are resigning that's not being in the job market, and that they are, just stepping out. There's lots of people that are quitting their jobs and going and doing something else. So if you don't know me, I am Professor Dave Maslock. I'm an Associate Professor of Innovation Strategy and Entrepreneurship. And I created this whole Reciprocity Project to give back as much as I possibly can. There's so many people that help me out that I want to pay the favor for it to help you out as much as I can. So I actually built this sharing economy editing platform. That's what the Reciprocity is. The E is written with a 3. You can go check it out. Please, go buy some credits. It's going to help out, as well as I think it's going to really help you out. And I'm building a lot more sort of features and stuff like that. But that's how this all started. And so I started doing, a YouTube show to get the word out. And then we've got this massive blog. And now I've been doing this, the pod, at this moment. So, all right. So what I wanted to talk about was the Great Resignation. I think it's kind of an interesting phenomenon. I am not, I'm not a labor economist. I am not a human resource person. But, I have some thoughts about it. But I don't think, I'm probably patently uninformed with the phenomenon. I don't study it in any sort of way. That's sort of my preamble with it. But what we're looking at here, this is a supply chain issue. Generally, the economy you can model as a supply chain. This is how I would think about it, or how I think about it. It's like a supply chain, and the economy kind of runs pretty steady state for most things over the long run, right? We've got people that are being born, people that are dying, and that's pretty steady state, and we can predict how much people are being born and predicting over time, like over years and years, decades, right? And that's steady state. And what has happened with the pandemic is that this led to a dramatic shift of people that have been in the workforce for a long time, a chunk of them that have left. And, personally, I haven't, I sort of have a mild sense of what the numbers are with this, and I probably should do a lot more in-depth and focused on my own research. But, what's happening, I think, is that there's basically anybody that's 50 and above is leaving the workforce because they, if they can, they're going to take early retirements. And there was a lot of people, a lot of baby boomers up until the pandemic that were, pushing back their retirement because they didn't need to. It's, this age of 65 years old of retiring. It's kind of an artificial age. In the sense that we're living, most of us, pre-pandemic have been living quite a bit longer than 65, and so it's an arbitrary time. So, and people are, healthy and excited to work and stuff still at 65. So they're happy to stay as long as they're getting paid in the workforce, and they should. I mean, that's actually a really healthy economy. That's great. People should choose however long that they want to work. I think that is perfectly healthy to have that. So if you want to work until the day that you die, and you're going to die when you're 95 years old, hey, you should have that choice. But what has happened is that people that age group views that it's a risk to go into work anytime that you have to sort of move together. And I would love to see the numbers in terms of, particularly in the United States, but this is going to occur in most countries. But, I'd love to see the numbers in terms of, what has been the difference across the states in terms of, how people have handled, how various governors have handled the pandemic, for example, or, even across different countries, how different countries have handled the pandemic, and, people's perceptions of feeling safe. Because that's going to drive a lot of this, right? So we know that there's been vast differences between different regions and how they've handled the pandemic, in terms of governance and what they've done. And it's not only whether they actually are safe. This is a really important thing that you have to realize, right? Like, it's not just the fact that they are safe, but it's the perception of safety, right, that drives a tremendous amount of behavior, and the expectation that you're going to feel safe. So if you don't have that expectation, and regardless of whether you're safe or not, and you just feel like, things are just really volatile, and you don't really have a good sense of where things are going, people are going to have a tremendous sense of fear, and their sort of risk meters go way up, and they're like, nope, I'm out. And that's just what people are going to do, right? So if you are not projecting, I don't like the idea of sort of confidence, but, giving people, making them feel safe and loved, and being like a parent, right? Like, that's an important part of sort of governance, is realizing that people want to feel safe and loved and belonged, and, all that kind of stuff. Religious values, basically. And if they don't have that, then they're just like, I'm stepping out. And there has been a significant portion of people in the age group that has shifted out, and they're just like, I'm out. So what that does is that allows everybody else that's sort of in their footsteps, like the steps below them, maybe that one of these 55-year-olds or 60-year-olds was a manager, right? And so they leave, and then so that opens up, the assistant, that opens up the regional manager role, and then somebody can go in there, and then the assistant to the regional manager role is opened up because that person went in there, and then to the assistant regional manager role. If you don't know the reference, you got to watch The Office. So, what you really need to do, or what's going to happen, is that there's going to be this huge shift, right? So it's not just one job that opens up. You forget about that, right? It's called transitivity, or you can think of like transitivity in roles, where they open up, where one job opens up, then the next opens up, or you can think of it as like a chain, right? Where there's sort of chain consequences, and all of a sudden, that one opening has pretty large consequences in terms of shifting across the entire economy, because it opens up all these different positions for everybody else, and we have to go through thinking about what to do with that. So, not only, we forget that that yes, they're shifting, they're moving, and that's healthy. That's like people doing the rational thing and protecting themselves. That's actually really healthy, and I don't think that there's anything wrong with people taking early retirement if they feel scared. If they feel scared and they're being forced to work to go in, and that's wrong, because that's where that's where you get into all sorts of debates about whether they should be there, and sort of fairness of things and stuff, right? So if they choose to just leave the market because of that they feel unsafe, that's actually a wonderful thing. But then we have not only all of these positions that are opened up, right? We also have a tremendous stress on the system, not simply because the job, like these positions are opened up, but hiring people is costly, right? Like we need to hire somebody to hire people, right? You need to go do search. Right? It's called search costs. You need to go find people. You need to train them. There's training costs, right? So even if somebody's highly competent and they're highly skilled in the industry, right? So let's say that they're a 55-year-old and they have 30 years experience, but they're not ready to retire, and they have 30 years experience in all these other jobs in the industry, they still need to get trained when they go into that organization. They can't just be up and running, right? There's still a transition that happens. And so all of that has costs that are there. And so what that does is sort of pushes back and creates more opportunities for, hiring and training for those people that are doing that kind of stuff. So there's an extra role that's there. And what's happening is that the power dynamics between employers and employees are shifting, where employees are getting a lot more power in this situation. And it's probably going to be like this for a while, because there was, the baby boomers were supposed to leave the job market, and they didn't do that. It's been sort of the expectation as they would for a long time, but now there's been sort of this dramatic shift. And I think this is all healthy, to be honest. I think it's a healthy thing that we are, so it's costly, but I think it's healthy for employees and healthy for the economy in the long run. So immediately it's costly, and a lot of businesses are going to feel that stress. But for the employees, there's usually what ends up happening in any system. It doesn't matter whether you're looking at a natural system or you're looking at, human systems, social systems. But you get into these steady states where they don't change as rapidly as one would think. They don't change generally. Systems don't change, gradually over time. They're kind of chunky. And whenever there's sort of moments where it's forced to change rapidly like this, you can actually get a lot of positive changes in place, right? Like we've got incentive to do things that are going to be good for employees, good for people, right? It's not like just employees are people. Good for people, and good ultimately is going to be good for the economy, to have policies that allow people to work a lot more freely, for example, give them more choice, give them more opportunities to do different things and sort of shape what they want. That's ultimately a really positive thing. But that doesn't mean that there's not going to be growing pains, uncomfortable moments, paying a lot more sometimes than what you'd expect, really uncomfortable conversations over the next while, probably the next 5 years. There's going to be a lot of transition still. This is going to take a long time to clear out of the system by the time we actually get to more of a steady state again. So that's all I wanted to say. I think it's an interesting phenomenon that's going on right now. I think that there is a lot of positive things I think are going to happen from it. And there might be some people leaving and coming back once they realize that I feel safe again. All of those things are really positive effects for human potential and human beings. So with that, hopefully you like this one, and we'll see you on the next one. All right. Take care and have a wonderful day.